During World War II, one of the most horrific atrocities took place in the United States. The United States government shipped Japanese Americans to internment camps. Many factors caused the Americans' bigotry towards Japanese and affected both the Japanese and the American government.
The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, stunned the American people and caused the death of many United States soldiers. Soon after the bombing, false rumors spread that Japanese Americans were committing sabotage by mining coastal harbors and poisoning vegetables. As a result, on February 19, 1942, President Roosevelt and Congress authorized the establishment of internment camps where thousands of Japanese Americans posing a perceived threat could be sent. Additionally, these Japanese Americans were thriving economically and financially. Thus, in addition to fearing disloyalty, economics and jealousy also played a role in the decision to intern the Japanese Americans.
Most Japanese Americans obeyed the U.S. government's evacuation orders. They were given only 48 hours notice that they would have to evacuate and were only allowed to bring with them as much as they could carry. They were housed in barracks or horse stalls and were forced to share public bathrooms and eating areas. Many people died from the unsanitary conditions and emotional stress. Unfortunately, by October 1942, the American Army transferred the Japanese Americans to 10 War Relocation Authority camps. Here, they were enclosed by barbed wire, and families were forced to live in single rooms without any furniture or other necessities. Fortunately, the ends of internment finally arrived on March 20, 1946, when the last detention camp was closed.
Although President Roosevelt released the Japanese Americans from the camps, the Japanese still continued to endure hardships and difficulties, such as they no longer owned their homes or property. Many Japanese Americans returned to their normal lives to find that they were without homes to live in, food to eat, or jobs to earn money. Additionally, they still faced a lot of prejudice and hatred from the American population. Because of this, many Japanese Americans were determined to begin life anew and traveled eastward across the country, straying from their original homes in western cities in the United States to a more tolerant environment.
4 decades later, after the Japanese were released from internment camps, the government acknowledged the terrible mistreatment that took place. In 1989, President Bush authorized financial reparations to the Japanese Americans to help compensate for all the damages done to their lives. 10 years later, in 1998, Congress voted to send $20,000 to all those who were sent to the relocation camps. Congress also officially apologized to the Japanese Americans for the grave injustice they had suffered. Furthermore, Congress created the Civil Liberties Act, which had many goals, including acknowledging the injustice done to the Japanese, apologizing on behalf of the United States citizens for the internment, to finance a public education fund to prevent an injustice such as this from happening again, and to make a restitution to the Japanese Americans who were interned.
The injustice of the Japanese Americans is a shameful reminder of how a just society can be led astray.